Authorities in Taiwan have finally finished removing the wreckage from the tunnel at the site of last Friday's train crash.
And they're still trying to piece together what happened in the final moments leading up to the crash. This is what we know so far.
In footage from January, the Taroko Express No. 408 leaves Hualien Tunnel travelling at over 120 kilometers an hour, heading for the Qingshui Tunnel. It's a clear stretch of less than 300 meters, and it's precisely here that one of Taiwan's worst train disasters occurred on Friday. The distance between the tunnel and the truck was 250 meters. Taroko trains normally cover that in less than 7 seconds. Taiwan Transportation Safety Board chairperson Yang Hongzhi says there simply wasn't enough time to stop the train. After analysing the train's CCTV footage, he says the driver reacted within 4 seconds, but by then the train had travelled nearly half the distance. Yang says no matter what the driver did, he couldn't have stopped the train from hitting the truck. Yang says the accident was made worse by the fact that the train then entered a second tunnel. He says that's why the left side of the train was so severely mangled. The Taiwan Transportation Safety Board is reviewing footage from the train's cameras and conducting 3D scans of the area in the hope of shedding more light on the cause of the accident.
Joining us now in the studio is RTI reporter Staś Butler, who has been looking into the details of last Friday's crash. What do you have for us, Staś?
That's right. Well, we've mostly been looking at what happened to the train in the moments leading up to the crash. But, I mean, what about the truck that fell onto the tracks, right? Well, there are some things that we don't really know, and then there are some things that we do know for sure. So I want to take you back and look back at one single frame from the video that you've just seen. What we're seeing here is the back end of the train after it derailed and entered the tunnel. And we can see a construction site above and to the right of the track. Now, the truck was in this construction site before it slid down onto the tracks. We know it arrived there about half an hour before the crash. But the thing is, it wasn't meant to be there in the first place. It was a public holiday and there was no work planned for that day. The Transportation Safety Board then says that the truck attempted to make a tight corner turn down the access ramp in the last minutes before the crash. It started around here, made it to here, and ended up here. And you can see very clearly where the truck slid down the embankment. Now, the Safety Board says that the truck slid down just over 1 minute before the collision with the Taroko Express. Now, why exactly did it slide down, and was the handbrake engaged? That's something we probably will never know for sure because the vehicle was mostly destroyed in the collision. But what we do know is that there wasn't the necessary safety measures in place to stop this kind of accident from happening.
If you look at the pictures, you can see there aren't any barriers between the construction site and the tracks or anything like that. Now, I'm curious a little bit about the driver. Can you tell us more about him?
Yeah, well, so authorities have detained both the driver and one other person that was also present at the site. The slightly worrying thing is that the driver of the vehicle was also the person who was, in charge of safety for this whole site.